Hello everyone, it is Tuesday, July 6, 2021. Unfortunately, I was unable to do a video last week. I had some changes in my work, so I am no longer off on my previous days, which was Thursday, Friday. I'm now working, and I'm working different hours, so most of the shops were closed, but I was able to pick up a few of the books from last week's, which I will show in this video, and then we are going to touch bases on a couple of other things, especially the big one we're going to talk about is the purchase of CCG, which is the parent company of CGC, and what I think that might mean for the future of grading, in my opinion. I know people get upset when I talk about the grading, but this is kind of things that have been happening that I think is going to change the market, considerably. And then a viewer question, and then there's a new shop in town. We're going to talk about one of the services that they offer. So let's jump right into the books. First one up, Daredevil number 31, cover A. One of the hot books that we're selling, X Factor, number 10, Death of Scarlet Witch. There's 3 covers to this. I have another cover in the box still that I haven't picked up yet. That's mainstream. That was what the mainstream was, Marvel. So next one up, Tarot, Witch of the Black Rose, number 128. I always do like this storyline, and then the covers are really nice as well. Red Room number 2. Red Room number 1 came out. It was a pretty good book, sold really well. A lot more expensive. I think it was $6.99 for issue 1. This is $3.99 for issue 2, but it is a lot thinner than issue 1 was. Issue 1 was a pretty thick book. One of my favorite storylines going on right now, IDW, Kanto and the City of Giants. Number 3, big old dragon. He ain't afraid. He's going to go down fighting. Good storyline on that. From Bad Idea, ENIAC number 4. Freebies here because you pre-bought these when they first came out with ENIAC, and so you just have to go in there. It's sitting in your box. You already paid for it, months ago. Next up from Behemoth, You Promised Me Darkness number 3, cover 1, cover 2, cover 3. And then finally, a third print, cover 1. I am enjoying the storyline so far. A lot of people have left messages stating that they don't like the artwork. It's kind of rudimentary. I like that artwork style. It's kind of basic, a lot of black and white. So I will just continue to buy the books. Next up, I had a question from a viewer who was stating that, in past videos when I've talked about, my future business model and what I like to do, mine was more higher grade filler books. Now, when I mean filler books, I'm not talking about high-end keys or big key issues. It's always nice to have a few of those, but if you study this industry, your bread and butter is going to be with new releases every week and your backstock inventory, and a lot of people don't have money to pay, thousands of dollars or even, high hundreds of dollars in the, $500 to $1,000 and up range for a book. It isn't happening. So the success of your business is going to be your ability to keep filler books that are, what's the word I'm looking for here? Affordable filler books. And I'm talking affordable, I'm talking in the $3 to $20 range, because people will buy those books all the time. So I thought I would show a few books that I'm talking about, just kind of a basic idea. The first thing you have to do is you have to have a wide selection of books from Marvel, DC, as well as independents. Even though you're not a big independent fan, you don't have to be a fan. If you're selling your personal collection for the purpose of that, then you're doing this wrong. You have to have a good selection of books, to sell. So if you sell, a few hundred books a month or 300 or 400 books a month in your back stock inventory, do you have 300 or 400 books in secondary storage to bring that out and fill that gap? Because you don't want to open a shop with 10,000 books and then 4 months later you have 1,500 books because you haven't been able to replace those books. That's a recipe for failure right there. So some of the things we're talking about, perfect example, cheaper books that sell fairly well. First one, Howard the Duck. This is from 1976. This is a number 9. This is graded between 7.58. And again, these are not expensive books. This book might only cost you $4 or $5 in a shop, but it's $4 or $5 that people will spend gladly to get a book. Here's another good example, Human Fly. not a popular title, but you have a book like this with the ghostwriter. So it opens up the type of, you know, fan base that, you know, appeals to this book right here. Again, another book that's not real expensive. Godzilla, always popular. There's a big following for Godzilla. Some of the books we're talking about, here's number 8. Again, upper mid-grade copy. Cover I like because that's Las Vegas right there. You got the old, you know, Binions. You have Horseshoe, Golden Nugget, just really cool. And again, not expensive books. You can get these for fairly, you know, a fairly reasonable price. Amazing Spider-Man 188. Here's a Battlestar Galactica number 1. Used to love that show as a kid. Loved the Cylons, you know, the famous By Your Command. But this is an example of books that people, if you don't have a lot of them, they're not going to think about it. But when you thumb through it, you're someone my age. Here's a number 10, Battlestar Galactica. You're going to see that. You're going to be like, God, I remember that show. And they're going to buy that book just based off of what they remember from the show, or the memory, or the, you know, good feeling that comes when you were collecting. And here's another one that, you know, sells really well, but hard to find in higher grade. Son of Satan number 5. And a Son of Satan number 6. And that's the type of stuff we have. Also, when you're talking about books like that, you're also talking mainstream. Amazing Spider-Man, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. Books that people buy, you just need a lot of the filler stuff. When I'm talking filler stuff, I'm talking 20 cent, 25 cent, 40 cent, 25 to 50 cent. That gap right there, there's a big market for it, and it's real hard to find. Now, here in Las Vegas, there's only a couple of shops that even have filler books like that are reasonably priced. A lot of shops don't. Maximum doesn't have a lot of stuff like that. There are other shops in town I won't mention, you know, that are great customer service shops, and they, you know, they have items. They do real well with the new books, but not a whole lot of back issue. And that's the bread and butter. The bread and butter for new shops is new releases, because that's where people spend the most money, is on new releases. And then your, you know, backstock inventory, which is really good. You got to have a good amount of backstock on your inventory. And then hope that answered your question. And then next up, and this video is kind of, you know, I'm got a lot of stuff going on. So there was a new shop in town that opened up here on, I want to say, Sahara and Maryland Parkway area. It is called Dirty Dog Comics, and Dirty Dog is spelled D-U-R-T-Y. Dirty Dog Comics. I'll show a business card. Dirty Dog Comics here in Las Vegas. New business, getting his, you know, getting his feet wet. Super nice guy. He offers a pressing service. So for the sake of the video, I had given him a book, and it was a Happy Days number 1. This was one of the books that I purchased in that collection I got real cheap that we've been showing a lot of books out of. And this book had super bad wrinkles on the cover. It was real wavy, probably a 3.5. And he did a really, really good job on this. It was real dirty on the back too. Again, this is just for the purpose of the video. Here is the back of the book. Super, super clean. Did a really nice job of cleaning that up. And then the cover, there is no, you can kind of see in the light there, very little waving at all. He raised this grade a tremendous amount. Now, I'm not saying that every book is going to be like that, but for this particular book, this was, you know, you look at a book that has something, you know, if a person knows how to press and clean a book, you can really, really raise the value of a book. And this book really went up in price. I had another book he did, which was a Son of Satan number 1, another one of those books I bought in that collection. This is another one that was real dirty in the back. Did a real nice job of cleaning. And then, of course, if you know anything about pressing, which I don't get a lot of stuff pressed, but I do know that the color breaks will not press out. There's one down there on the corner that didn't come out. But other than that, again, you're pressing out a book, you're getting it flat. And again, the only reason I did this was because for the purpose of this video. And then here's another one. The last one I had done, which was 3. I had 3 total done. This is a Marvel Spotlight on the Son of Satan, number 12, second appearance, I believe. This one was real dirty on the back. You can see here, it still has some color fade, some browning, but from what it was, is a tremendous night and day. Again, a little bit of waving in the front. Not everything comes out. Little stuff on the corner up there. It was a lot worse than what it is, what you see. Again, he was able to, you know, make the book a lot more visually appealing to people, if that's what you want to do. Again, it's Dirty Dog Comics, and it's the address. I'll show the card one more time. Everything's on there. There's that. Go ahead and stop by, say hello. He's currently trying to get his inventory up and running. But again, stop in. He always got movies. He has movies playing on the television. Super, super nice guy. And again, if you want to get your books pressed and clean, you know, he does appear to do a really, really good job with it. There's not a whole lot of places in town you can actually drop the book off. And his turnaround time is about a week to 10 days is his turnaround time. And his prices are extremely reasonable for more modern books, depending on the amount of cleaning and stuff that needs to be done. It's around $10, which, I mean, you can't beat that price. Just drop it off, pick it up. So again, Dirty Dog Comics here in Las Vegas. Give them an opportunity. There is plenty of room in this town for good shops. So give them an opportunity. So there is that. Finally, the big news, of course, is CGC, the grading company, parent company, CCG, which a lot of you probably don't know, that CGC is just a knockoff, or is a secondary point to a larger, you know, conglomerate that does coins, currency, entertainment memorabilia, baseball cards. They do everything. You name it, they do it. Well, it's been purchased by a company called Blackstone. Blackstone was an investment company. It's a Wall Street investment company. And the actual name is Blackstone Tactical Opportunities. Blackstone Tactical Opportunities. The name says it all. And there was a bunch of people who bought in this. It's not one guy buying it. Now you have 7 major investors in there. 2 of the investors is Jay-Z with his Rock Nation company is one of the investors, as well as the owner, or not an owner, but a you know, a senior member of the, I believe it was the Philadelphia 76ers, who is now, you know, a co-owner of this company. And what that means for the business, investors like this don't put big money. The purchase price was $500 million. That's what they purchased CCG for. And so what happens in that? Now they have to try to make their money back. So now you're going to see a lot of change in the business models. They're going to say, they always say the same thing. We're not changing anything. And then a month later, six weeks later, everything changes. You're going to see a price point change. You are going to see definitely a change in the care in which the books are being taken care of, the accuracy in which the books are being graded, because now this company is all about the fast dollar. Now, CGC has already been taking big hits lately in the industry due to their, you know, terrible grading standards and just the lack of care and quality that they give turning books out. But you know what? It's just going to get even worse now. You're going to have companies like this, like, you know, Blackstone Investments. They're not putting $500 million down and say, oh, we're going to see what happens in 6 years. No, they want to see something right away. And now you have 7 hands in the pot of the 7 major investors who all want their, you know, they want their greenback on their investment in order to do this. So CBCS has been slowly catching up with CGC. There used to be a huge discrepancy in prices between CGC books and CBCS books. That price point is really low. I mean, I just saw a Something Is Killing the Children #1 that recently sold for, I think it was about $1,100 for a 9.8, CGC 9.8, $1,100 for a Something's Killing the Children cover A #1 first print. and a CBCS sold for $1,049. That is a $51 difference in price point, when before it was a couple of $100s. So CBCS is now going to be slowly going to bypass CGC and become the main comic book grading company for the comic book community, as CGC is, I think, going down that path of being an afterthought. And one of the questions I have for you is, if CGC does become an afterthought in the comic book grading industry, what happens to all the people who sent all those books into CGC? Do they lose it? Are people going to now try to get CBCS books? Are they going to be cracking CGC books to submit to CBCS? This is going to be a really, really rocky time in the next year in this industry as it relates to people who get tons of books graded, because there is a lot of money changing hands from, collectors and investors who are sending, 200-300 books a month into CGC. Now, the time frames are going to be longer, the wait times are going to be longer, and the reason the wait times are so long is because there was a purchase going on, and now you have to try to figure out what Blackstone's going to do. Now, people are going to sit there and say, sure, but the higher-ups from CGC are still in place. They are still in place, but everything trickles down. When a big company gets purchased, they always leave the upper management in there as kind of a help the transition, but ultimately in the next few months, you're going to start seeing the big wigs from CGC stepping down, looking for other opportunities. It's always going to trickle down to the lower end, the regular workers, the line workers, the shippers, the people doing the actual work are the ones that are going to suffer the most. Now, they're talking about expanding more regional type things, but it's not going to happen. Trust me. This is the end of CGC. It's the beginning of the end for CGC. They're going to walk down that long road, and collectors are just going to kind of, everybody put all their eggs in a basket for CGC books. People are going to realize that, maybe raw is the way to go. Maybe, ungraded books are the way to go. I see a lot more people buying ungraded books, not to get them graded, just keeping them ungraded. Again, if you get a lot of high-grade books and you want to get them graded, there is a big money market there for it, but CGC being purchased is nothing but bad news for collectors who put all their eggs in the CGC basket. So there was that. So I want to hear what your take is on that. Again, this is big news. This affects everybody. This affects everybody in the comic collecting community, because a lot of big companies that, the shows and stuff are done are graded books. And so something like this can have tremendous aftershock in the industry and just trickle all the way down. I hope it doesn't, but it's going to. And I've been saying this for quite some time now as it relates to CGC, that ultimately, it's going to go. And another thing, if CGC is making all this money like they say they are, and they think that there is continued growth or an area to make more money, they wouldn't be selling. A company sells when they think that they've already reached their plateau, when they've reached the height and the peak of what they're going to make. Everybody knows that collecting the cards, you see the crazy people at Target trying to buy cards and flip them. This is a phase. And again, with a phase like anything else, and I've said this a few times, when all is said and done and the smoke clears and the water's calm, it's always going to be the hardcore collector, the person who used to go into the 7-Elevens and buy their books, or the ones that would go to the newsstands and buy their books, are going to be the ones standing there, not the investors, not the ones trying to make the fast money. So this is the first step. The first stone has been cast in the graded industry, and we are going to see what happens with it. So there was that. Again, the video is kind of all over the place. I'm just trying to get it out because I'm sorry I didn't get a video done last week. So I want to thank everybody who supports the video. I get a lot of great comments from everybody. Again, I'm here because I enjoy doing these videos. I like hearing from the viewers. And you don't have to agree with me, but do me a favor, don't badmouth me because of my thought process and my views. You want to give me a thumbs down, that is your business. My viewership is going up, and I appreciate that because, again, I love this community. I love everything about, collecting. I like talking to people. People come up to me in shops here locally. Hey, I watch your videos. That does mean a lot to me. A couple of shout outs. Gorilla Todd, I met him at a shop the other day. He's a viewer and has his own little channel. So there you go, Mr. Gorilla. And then Wally was a viewer who I saw at a local shop here who just came up and said, hey man, I love your videos and I appreciate it. So there's a couple of shout outs there. Again, if you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell so you know when new books come out. And if you are, thank you very much. So that's pretty much all we have today. I hope you liked the video, but as always, if you didn't, nothing I can do for you. Have a great, great day. Thank you for sitting through this video, and I will see you hopefully in a few days.